He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
That's what I'm talking about, live from the palatial yet not overly ostentatious studios of 365 Sports here in beautiful New York City. Welcome on into a Thursday edition of the Zach Gelb Show. You can always give me a follow on the good old cesspool of Twitter and Instagram where I'm straight flexing at Zach Gelb. That's ZACHGELB. You could also follow me on TikTok at the Zach Gelb Show, but most importantly, youtube.com/@365sportsyt, youtube.com/@365sportsyt. Make sure you subscribe. From SEC Unfiltered, Cole Thompson's going to join us coming up at 1 p.m. Eastern time today. That's noon Central, so we're looking forward to that conversation with Cole Thompson. I want to start with the NFL today, and I have a conversation I want to have about three quarterbacks. All three of these quarterbacks made the playoffs last year. All three of these quarterbacks have had some level of success in the NFL. One has won a Super Bowl. The other is considered one of the better quarterbacks in the league. And another one helped save a franchise, but now there's serious questions about his future. The three quarterbacks I'm talking about are Jalen Hurts, CJ Stroud, and Justin Herbert. And I want to get into our expectations for all three entering this season. Now, I'm going to ask you this, Garrett. We're just going to go fair or unfair.
Okay.
And then we'll have a deep dive on these quarterbacks. The conversation around Jalen Hurts. There is a legitimate prove-it type of mentality with Jalen Hurts this year. For a guy that's been to two Super Bowls, has won a Super Bowl, has won a Super Bowl MVP, do you feel just because A.J. Brown is in New England and they had their falling out that this is a make it or break it type of season for Jalen Hurts? Do you think that's fair or unfair?
I don't necessarily think it's a make it or break it season. I think it's a chip on the shoulder, I'm going to prove my haters wrong season.
Yeah.
I think Jalen Hurts knows the noise. He knows the conversation. He's always very cognizant of everything around him. To me, he's one of the more in tune and smart quarterbacks we have. Like, it's just people out there, really. But I think he understands the situation. I think Jalen Hurts has a better season this year than what Antonio Brown has with the Pats.
You mean A.J. Brown?
A.J. Brown does with the Pats. I think he does. I think he has a better season. I think his chip on his shoulder, being able to prove it. What hinders him and why people talk crap and slander him, in my opinion, is how he's won hasn't necessarily been passing the rock. It's been the tush push. It's been getting them down the field, getting in a position to take advantage of the rushing attack with Saquon, the tush push, and all that. He's not doing it like other quarterbacks where they're just lighting it up and picking apart secondaries. That's not how Jalen's winning. And I think that's where a lot of the misconstrued slander about him comes into play.
Yeah, I just don't know how to compare Hurts to Brown. Where like saying, oh, Hurts will have a better season than Brown. Like if that's like, okay, the Eagles go win the Super Bowl and you want to define it that way, sure. But we're talking about a quarterback and a wide receiver.
Right.
Like, I think at his position, Brown will have better stats this year at his position than Hurts will have at the quarterback position. Like, I think A.J. Brown's going to have a really successful individual season. And I think the Patriots are going to be good once again. But I do think that this is a year where Jalen Hurts, I don't know if he could silence people, because if you don't win a Super Bowl and then if he has a bad game in the postseason, people are going to crush him. But here's why I give Jalen Hurts not only a benefit of the doubt, and I think it's totally an unfair conversation for anyone saying it's a make it or break it season for Jalen Hurts. It's because anytime Jalen Hurts gets doubted, he shuts you up.
Yeah.
Like, all right, he gets benched at halftime of the national championship game. Alabama wins a national championship. But Tua finding Devontae Smith, who's now, ironically, Jalen Hurts' number one wide receiver with the Crimson Tide. The following year, he stays at Alabama. Didn't leave. Stays. Mm-hmm. And then in the SEC championship game, Tua gets hurt. Jalen Hurts gets inserted. And then he wins that SEC championship. Then he goes to Oklahoma, and he's a Heisman Trophy finalist. Like, hello? Like, look at what he did. Then gets drafted in the second round. Was an insurance policy for Wentz. Hurts gets on the field. All he's done is made the playoffs. He's never missed the playoffs in his career. He then gets to the Super Bowl, outplays Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, loses the Super Bowl. Then they had that incredible start where they're 10-1. They were horrible. Not just bad, horrible down the stretch. And then the following season goes and wins the Super Bowl. And now, because last year wasn't smooth sailing, where it's never been smooth sailing for Jalen Hurts, but the guy is usually just bare minimum a good quarterback, now I'm supposed to jump off the bandwagon of Jalen Hurts. I just don't see that. I
don't either. Like, when you're sitting there just like laying all that out, and you know what it reminded me of? He's like Jalen Brunson. Like, they're both doubted. They're doubted constantly.
It's a good comparison.
People just, for whatever reason, they're not big enough. They're just, their style is too unorthodox. We can't play. You can't. Are they a good enough leader, dude? All they do is win.
And they have a calm personality.
Exactly.
It's not like they try to throw it in your face either.
They're not going to get on the internet with burner accounts and all this. Like, you don't have to worry about them. They are like legitimately the leaders you want to build franchises around.
And then even when they do win, people still doubt. Now the conversation goes from Jalen Brunson, Becky Hammond, clown, goes, oh, he can't be a one on a championship team, can't be a dude, wins a championship. And then you have people that will be like, oh, well, he'll never win another one. Jalen Hurts wins a Super Bowl. Oh, yeah, he's not really a franchise player. Like, I would love, like, there's a lot of teams and a lot of fan bases that would love to have Jalen Brunson, that would love to have Jalen Hurts, would love to have the success that both those two people had. Like, if you tell me you're a Cleveland Browns fan, you wouldn't know what to do with yourself if you had Jalen Hurts. But I saw Cleveland Browns fans during the draft when, I forget, someone threw out there like, oh, can Jalen Hurts, if he's traded, does Cleveland make a move for it? And one of their talk show hosts were like, no, I don't want Jalen Hurts. Cleveland, you have had instability at the quarterback position since you came back into football. Like, you wouldn't even know what to do if you had 1/10 of the success that the Eagles have had in the last decade. You wouldn't know what to do. No. And so many fan bases just trash Jalen Brunson. Like, the Hornets, I know they made a big trade today. We'll get to that later with LaMelo Ball getting traded to Minnesota. Like, Hornets fans, I'm not saying that they knock Brunson, but, like, if you could have just Jalen Brunson before the championship, like before they wanted to just consistently being a playoff team, you would take that in a second. But that's what happens when you're in a place like New York. That's what happens when you're in a place like Philadelphia, where you're in such a big media market and so many people are doubting you and treating you like each and every game will determine your career. And then when you shut everybody up, it's like, okay, now we're going to get spoiled. Now we're going to get greedy. And we expect to do this, where for all their careers, it was like, I don't think they can win a championship. And then when they do win a championship, now it's like, oh, I don't think they can win multiple championships.
Dude, like, as a Washington fan, I would have loved, like, I've loved Jalen Daniels. I'm great to have him there. But prior to that, like, if you would have told me you could have had the stability of Jalen Hurts, like, dude, everybody would have wanted that.
Where a bad year is making the playoffs and losing in like the second round or something.
Bro,
like that.
I would give up. Yes. Like, so I think there's a lot of franchises or people out there who don't appreciate and realize what you have. And people sometimes, Jalen Hurts is a star, and I don't understand why people continue to just act like he's chopped liver or something.
All right, we go from Jalen Hurts to CJ Stroud. I don't think I've ever been more conflicted on a quarterback than CJ Stroud.
It's fascinating.
Because CJ Stroud took a team that was a joke. That was a big, fat, hot pile of stinky doo-doo. Like, that's what the Texans were. That's what they were. They were steaming doo-doo. They were terrible. Like, not only bad, but then a joke.
Mm-hmm.
And you get DeMeco Ryans, you get CJ Stroud, and Will Anderson. And you've made the playoffs the last 3 straight years, the 3 years they've been with the franchise. And, oh, yeah, by the way, have won a playoff game each and every year.
Mm-hmm.
But I go into this year with CJ Stroud and I say, and the Texans, they're not going to get a long-term deal done with CJ Stroud before the start of the season as he enters year 4. But I go to myself, I don't know if I could trust this guy with top quarterback money. Because Stroud in his first year had one of the great rookie seasons you'll ever see, and then was topped by Jaden Daniels. Then in year number 2, the team was still good, but he regressed. So it was like, okay, year 1, were you maybe not that great?
Right.
But then year 2, it's like, I don't think you're that bad. And last year, with the whole world watching, and I understand Nico Collins was out. I understand his line had issues. But that defense is phenomenal with Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter and Stingley. And you threw 4, I think it was. I was there at the game. 4 first-half interceptions. It was as bad of a quarterback performance and as laughable of a quarterback performance that I've ever seen. And quite frankly, I was in person for the butt fumble. Like, that was just one moment. C.J. Stroud had one of the worst first halves I've ever seen. And now as you go into year number 4, it's like if I would have sat down a Texans fan 5 years ago and said, hey, you would be talking about the future of a quarterback if he wanted to, if you wanted to pay him when he's taking your team to the playoffs 3 straight years and has won you a playoff game each and every year, you would say, well, what's the conversation? Like, we're absolutely paying this guy. But I think it's fair to say this is a make or break season for C.J. Stroud, because right now I would have a lot of qualms about giving this guy $55 or $60 million because he's been good for that franchise. But ever since that first season, I think his head got a little bit too big, and I don't think he is as talented as what he showed us in his first year in the NFL.
I think also, like, just the sophomore slump, defenses are going to figure you out and everything. I was curious how he was going to come into the NFL and be, honestly, because if you look traditionally, Ohio State quarterbacks struggle in the NFL. They do. And I think that he's done really well. Obviously, it was inexcusable last year. The interceptions were ridiculous.
And here's the other thing, to just your point on Ohio State.
Yeah.
When C.J. Stroud was at Ohio State, even when he was a Heisman Trophy finalist, I never loved C.J. Stroud.
No, it was the players around him.
And I looked at the players around him, and I thought to myself, oh, like, maybe that's like why I had some questions with the narratives around quarterbacks at Ohio State. But then he played in that college football playoff game up against Georgia, the game that they should have won, and I think it was Georgia, where the kick missed right as midnight.
Yes, that was Georgia. Yeah.
Did hit. And I talked to Stroud at the Heisman that year. And Stroud said, I'm a lot more athletic than what people think, and I look forward to putting it on display soon. And you just saw the way he was moving around in that game. And then I said, okay, I see the it factor with C.J. Stroud, and that wasn't his fault why they ended up losing the football game. And in the NFL, he had a phenomenal rookie season. They had that moment with Caleb Williams in the year 2 where he's trying to, like, talk to Caleb Williams as if he's 20 years older. Yeah, like he's like Tom Brady, and he's talking to, like Caleb Williams. Like, it was weird. And ever since that moment, just C.J. Stroud has had a weirdness around him, and he's never been able to get the public praise that he had in that first season in the NFL. Like, we were talking about this guy after 1 year in the NFL as a top 5 quarterback in the league. Like, I know Stroud said it. He said it to me on Radio Row, but I didn't think that was a crazy thing to say he was a top 5 quarterback based off what he did. But since then, he's not a top 10 quarterback. I don't even know if he's a top 15 quarterback in the NFL right now.
No, that's valid. I just think that I think he has a better season this year. I think what helps him too is the division they're in, because there's no reason with that defense they shouldn't be in the playoffs every season.
But that division has gotten better. Now there's still questions, like maybe Tennessee takes the next step this year. Jacksonville, they won the division last year. Could they fall back? Indianapolis was looking like one of the best teams in the league before Daniel Jones got hurt, but that's always going to be a Daniel Jones issue. I'm not saying it's the NFC West. I'm not saying it's the AFC West. I get that, but it's not as much of a slap division as it was the first 2 years C.J. Stroud did play in the league.
No, it's not. But I think with how their defense has improved to become clearly the best defense in that division, like, there's that, to me, puts them on a pedestal ahead. And that's the thing. It's like everything is there. It's all on him. So CJ's got to realize, like, dude, I got to click. And because if I'm on that team, like last year, I would have been so pissed off if I was one of those members of that defense.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I would have been so
the last
pissed
2 years. Like, I know the final score doesn't reflect it, but the game up against Kansas City, that game was over at halftime. Kansas City got everything thrown at them in the first half, and the offense for Houston 2 years ago just couldn't do anything. And then inevitably Kansas City did pull away. So you lose that way in the postseason, and then you lose last year in the postseason because your offense couldn't do anything. Like, could you imagine? Like, Drake May turned over the football a lot in that playoff game. Like, if you would have just given me the stat line for Drake May in that playoff game with the fumbles and all that, I would have said, oh, they don't win that game. But it just shows you how laughable Stroud was.
Right. No, it's true. And I think, too, like, talking about those numbers and how he was viewed early on, like, I wonder how much of that was the comparison unfairly or unfairly coming in to Bryce Young and his struggles. It was like, well, CJ's doing better than Bryce. Remember all that talk like, about who's going to get drafted?
Yeah, because Bryce face planted originally and then was benched. But CJ also, you take a team picking second in the draft to a playoff victory. Like, what else? Like, of course I'm supposed to praise it. How don't I praise it?
No, but it's fascinating because, like, right now you could have the same conversation and you could have the arguments. Well, I mean, was Bryce the better player? But I think that CJ will have a better season this year. But it really is. Like, you hate to say it all falls on one person, but at this point, when you look at the Texans roster, it really is all on him.
It's a good point that you bring up. And I know that they blame the coordinators, they blame the offensive line. Like, some of those things, that there are validity to it. But the Bryce Young, CJ Stroud conversation, I still think CJ's better.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
Bryce was more clutch last year. You want to talk about bad divisions. They lost at the end of the year and still won that division because of a tiebreaker. Both those quarterbacks, though, I don't look at them as franchise guys.
No.
First and second pick in the draft, Bryce Young, I think he's in a spot this year that's a make or break season. He's had a good last year and a half, but I'm not willing to commit $55 million. Like, go prove it this year. And the bar's even higher for CJ because he's been successful, even though the last 2 years him as a quarterback hasn't been great. But he's taken a team to 3 straight playoff appearances and has had 3 straight, years of playoff victories. So, like, I still look at him and I go, like, he's good. Like, he'll probably get paid. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if we'll look at those contracts with either one of them, CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, and ever say, yeah, that quarterback was worth $55-60 million. And I do wonder if you mentioned Brunson with Hurts. Mm-hmm. I do wonder for Bryce Young and CJ Stroud if you could get them to take a discount. Like Leon, I know it's a different relationship.
Right.
He got Jalen to take a $100 million discount. Can you get CJ, like if CJ Stroud and Bryce Young this year are just fine?
Right.
Like, can you get them to take a discount, or do they say F you? And I know both of them had their 5th-year option picked up, and then they start to plot their exit because, like, paying either one of those guys $55 or $60 million, I think would be detrimental to your franchise, and I don't think you end up winning anything of significance with either one of them.
I mean, I think you legitimately put it out there and say I think you would recommend a pay cut and hope that they would take it. I just think with them being so young that you got to get your money right now. Like, if you're young, you've got to get your money. You don't want to take a pay cut.
Who's paying them $55-60 million on an extension? Like put it this way: the Cardinals need a quarterback right now.
Yeah.
The Jets need a quarterback right now. If they were free agents tomorrow, would you want the Cardinals or the Jets to pay either Bryce Young or CJ Stroud $55? No. And those are 2 organizations that don't have anything to stand on when it comes to quarterback selection. If I was a Jet fan or if I were a Cardinals fan and they paid $55 or $60 million a year for CJ Stroud or Bryce Young, I'd be furious.
No, I agree with that. I wouldn't want. They're not worth that money right now. They aren't.
I'm curious this year, the NFL MVP odds. And I just got them. And the reason why I bring them up, I think this player could be the MVP of the league this year that I'm about to bring up. Justin Herbert.
Really?
Yeah. I understand Justin Herbert, just like CJ Stroud, had a playoff shortcoming last year. Justin Herbert was no bueno up against the Patriots at one Patriot place at Gillette Stadium. But he was missing his 2 starting offensive linemen, and that was for the entirety of the season, pretty much, with Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater. Mm-hmm. They just changed offensive coordinators in Mike McDaniel, who's not a good head coach, but I think is a good offensive coordinator. I know I don't love, like, they got to go get another receiver in there, but you do have Ladd McConkey, who's good. And the running back room also had an abundance of injuries last year. I look at the Chargers. I think Justin Herbert this year is going to put it all together. I'm not saying in the postseason he's going to be super duper successful because that's a crapshoot. But I think for the regular season, Justin Herbert has an MVP quality season. And right now, there's only 4 players in the league that have better MVP odds than Justin Herbert. You have Josh Allen at plus 600. You have Lamar Jackson at plus 750. You have the great Drake May at plus 850. Joe Burrow at plus 1,000, coming off all the, the injuries and all the changes there. And then you have Justin Herbert tied with Patrick Mahomes at plus 1,100. I think Justin Herbert's going to have a monster individual season this year.
I have never really seen it with him. Like coming out of college, there was all the hype and everything. And I know there's the coaching changes and all that, but I just haven't been able to really get on the Justin Herbert train in the NFL. And I have a hard time seeing that, man. But I don't know.
He's completed 66% of his passes in his career. He's been a quarterback since 2020. 163 touchdowns and 58 interceptions. And he's thrown for 24,820 yards. Like, I'm not saying that he's been elite. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not. But the guy has been a good quarterback that you want to see him when the game is at its best. Or at the stakes are at its highest, that he plays his best. That we've not seen from Justin Herbert.
No.
In the playoffs 2 years ago was embarrassing. And then this past year, it was embarrassing again. And he was also the quarterback on that team that choked that game away. But it is go time for the Chargers. Because, like, when they were choking that game up, up against the Jaguars, it was all like, let's just go blame Brandon Staley, and Brandon Staley shouldn't have been the coach. Now you have Jim Harbaugh, and you've had Jim Harbaugh for, this is going to be the second season. The third season.
Should be
third season, yeah, because you had 2 years of Sherrone Moore. I try to forget those years. Yeah. So this is going to be the third year of Jim Harbaugh. I got to see an advancement by the Chargers this year. And that's the thing. Like, Justin Herbert could have an MVP season, and if he falls flat in his face in the playoffs, like, we're having the same conversation about Justin Herbert once again. I think he's good. I think he has all the potential to be a top 5 quarterback. I do not have him as a top 5 quarterback right now. Let me be clear. But I think he could be an MVP this year because I think him and McDaniel are going to get along. But most important, you get your tackles back.
Yeah.
Like, you get Slater and Alt back. That is enormous. But I would have liked to have seen them this year with the receivers that were out there. Waddle, Brown. I would have liked to see them be a little bit more aggressive because right now your wide receiving core is Lad McConkey, Quentin Johnson. Trey Harris is still there.
Yeah.
Rondé Gradson's been a good player for them. They added David Njoku. I would think Keenan Allen inevitably finds his way back. Remember, he told us at the Super Bowl he wants to go back there.
They need him. Like they desperately need him.
They need another Lad McConkey is a good player. I like Lad a lot. I think he's more of a 2.
Yeah, he's not a number 1.
Than a 1. He's asking to be a 1. I think you need a true number 1 wide receiver there, or a guy that can at least match Lad. So it's like, okay, you have a good 1-2 punch. Because you don't need, if Lad McConkey's your number 1 wide receiver, I need a better number 2 than the up and down play of Quentin Johnson. That's why I thought, if you, I don't think Jalen Waddle is definitely a 1.
Right.
But you put Waddle and Sutton together in Denver, it's good 1-2 punch. I think they need to go get a legit wide receiver or someone that's just very good to match and have another component. But last year, Najee Harris got hurt. Last year, Amarian Hampton got hurt. Now you have Amarian Hampton and Keaton Mitchell. And Vidal, I think, is still there. That's a team that I think last year, health was their biggest problem. But the quarterback did not play well in the biggest game of the season.
No, and I like Hampton. I think Hampton is honestly, I thought
he was UNC.
Yeah, he was, but he's better in the NFL than I expected him to be, which is fun to watch. But yeah, I mean, the lack of playmakers and the inconsistency still make me apprehensive. With Herbert, I think he's a good quarterback, but I don't even know if he's a top. Man, I'm just thinking AFC quarterbacks. If he's a top 5, I don't even know.
Well, it's so tough because the AFC compared to the NFC, the AFC is more well-rounded with quarterbacks because you have Burrow, you got Mahomes, you got Lamar, you got Josh Allen. So Yeah, I don't think you say right now going into the season he's a top 5 quarterback in the AFC. Like, but I don't think that means he stinks.
Right.
Like, I don't think that means he's bad. Like, yeah, right now Drake May or Justin Herbert, you should pick Drake May. Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, you should pick Joe Burrow. Lamar Jackson or Justin Herbert, you should pick Lamar Jackson. Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert, like you should pick Patrick Mahomes. So like it's would he be top 5 in just the AFC? Drake May's better.
Yep.
Burrow's better.
Yep.
Lamar's better. And then Mahomes is better. After that, though, like, who are you putting in front of Herbert? Like, the Dolphins, no. The Jets, no.
No.
Oh, did I say Josh Allen? I don't think I said Josh Allen.
I think you did. You said
Allen.
Mahomes.
Hold on. I'll do it right now. Allen, May, Lamar, and Burrow. Those 5, and then Mahomes. So that's 5 right there. But then, like, if let's say Burrow gets hurt, so you throw him out of this conversation, or Lamar gets hurt, you throw him out of this conversation. Like, after that, then who's better than Justin Herbert? I'd rather have Justin Herbert over Bo Nix. Mendoza hasn't played a game yet. Trevor Lawrence or Justin Herbert at Justin Herbert. Cam Ward or Justin Herbert at Justin Herbert. Stroud or Justin Herbert at Justin Herbert. Jones or Justin Herbert at Justin Herbert. The Browns, no thank you. The Steelers, not Rodgers at this stage of his career. Like, he's the 6th best quarterback in the AFC. And I know when you say, oh, the 6th best quarterback in the AFC, you're thinking, oh, you're not that good. Like, you're fine, but you're not that good. Like, the other 5 quarterbacks that are in front of him are some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Like, if you put Herbert in the NFC, let's do this.
Yeah, let's do that.
Giants, no. Commanders, no. Like, Daniels, it was 1 year.
Yeah.
I get he got to a conference championship game. Jackson Dart, got to see more. I got to say Hurts is better than Herbert.
He is.
Now, like, someone could argue, well, like, oh, if you put Herbert in Hurts' offense, maybe Herbert wins. Like, that's a fair thing.
Right.
In Minnesota, no. Like, would you trust more going into this year? If I put Justin Herbert on the Bears, who's better, Caleb on the Bears or Justin Herbert on the Bears?
Herbert's got a better arm at this point. Ooh.
No, it's pretty close. They're both.
Yeah.
I would say Herbert.
Dude, I might still lean Caleb, but
okay. I'm going through this right now. I would say Herbert would be the 3rd best quarterback in the NFC.
Damn.
Well, like, hear me out. I don't think it's crazy. Giants, no. Commanders, no.
No.
Dak is very good.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a toss-up. I'd put Hurts over Herbert. Vikings, no thank you. Bears, it's 1 full season of Caleb. Jordan Love.
No.
Jordan Love's a very good quarterback. I just think Herbert has a higher ceiling.
Yeah.
Jared Goff, like, good quarterback. If I put Herbert on the Lions, I think the Lions would be better. Saints, shuck too early. Baker's very good. Mm-hmm. Ooh, Baker's a tough one.
I think Baker. Oh,
but Baker's had great weapons in Tampa.
He has.
Atlanta, no. Carolina, no. Stafford's the one. Mm-hmm. Even Darnold, who just, like, if Herbert was on the Seahawks, you don't think he could do what Darnold just did? Cardinals don't have a quarterback in Brock. Like, I don't think that's crazy to say Justin Herbert, would be the 6th best quarterback in the AFC, would then be the 3rd best quarterback in the NFC.
That's wild.
So I want to get to this quick story here, and it's tough to call this actually a quick story. My screen didn't freeze up, right?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay, I just got to pull this up because of the seriousness of this, because I just mentioned the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Like, this story with Terrion Arnold is crazy.
Yes.
Like, it's wild what I just read, and, like, you would think with what he's accused of that this would be all over the place. I'm on ESPN right now. These are the top headlines on ESPN. Hornets balled to Wolves for Reed and picks. Kobe White plans to re-sign with the Hornets, sources say. The Celtics still actively talking about Jaylen Brown. QB Williams attempts to trademark Iceman denied. There's 4 headlines there. Over then, Lions Arnold facing kidnap, and robbery charges. Like, then I get
bury the lead.
Like, I understand the LaMelo Ball trade is huge. I understand the Celtics shopping Jaylen Brown is big. Kobe White and Caleb Williams getting trademark denied? Like, give me a break. Here are the details from the Terrion Arnold situation. It's from Eric Woodward on ESPN. Lions Terrion Arnold arrested, faces kidnapping robbery charges. Detroit Lions cornerback Terrion Arnold is facing multiple felony charges after he was arrested Wednesday in Tampa, Florida, in connection with the robbery and kidnapping in early February. Tampa police previously arrested 6 other individuals involved in a targeted armed robbery that took place shortly after midnight on February 4th, during which 3 men were pistol whipped, held at gunpoint, and robbed, according to police. Police say Arnold was the primary conspirator. He's accused of coordinating and directing the co-defendants to lure 3 men to an apartment where the assault occurred, according to a release from the state attorney's office. Arnold turned himself in and was taken into custody at Orient Road Jail in Hillsborough County on Wednesday night. He faces 4 counts of kidnapping and 4 counts of armed robbery, which carry a potential sentence of life in prison. He is scheduled to appear in Hillsborough County Court Thursday afternoon. The state attorney office said it would file a pretrial motion to keep Arnold in jail until a trial. A date for that hearing has not been set. According to the police investigation, the incident began after personal property belonging to Arnold and others was stolen February 1st from an Airbnb that Arnold rented in Largo, Florida, and periodically stayed with the 6 co-defendants: Ariana Del Valle, Jasmine Randazzo, Lindell Hudson, Christian Williamson, Boaki Hilton, and Freddie Lee Hughes III, and other friends. Arnold, Hilton, Hughes, and other individuals reported property loss totaling more than $250,000 to the Largo Police Department on February 3rd. Arnold, according to Tampa Police, suspected that 2 of the 3 victims in the kidnapping case were responsible for the Airbnb robbery, but investigators later determined they were not involved. The state attorney's office, in its release, accused Arnold of orchestrating the kidnapping and robbery just hours after reporting the missing items to the Largo Police Department. Investigators said they located a group chat in which Arnold and Hilton reportedly gave directions to Del Valle, Williams, and Hudson during the assault at the apartment. 2 of the co-defendants in the case have pled guilty, and the other 4 are being held without bond, according to the Hillsborough County State Attorney's Office. In a statement Wednesday, Denise White, who I actually know, because she used to work, I think she still represents Antonio Gates, CEO of EAG Sports Management, said Arnold categorically denies any involvement in the matters underlying the allegations made against him and maintains his innocence. There is no credible evidence linking Mr. Arnold to these allegations. Instead, the government appears to be relying on testimony from multiple convicted felons who've admitted their own involvement and may have substantial incentives to shift blame in an effort to lessen their sentence. Mr. Arnold looks forward to his day in court and is confident that the judicial process will lead to his ultimate vindication. The Lions in a statement said they were aware of the situation but declined to comment out of respect for the ongoing legal process. Arnold was approached by reporters about the off-the-field incident during the Lions veteran minicamp June 17th and declined to comment, saying he just wanted to focus on football while coming off a season-ending shoulder surgery. How about that story in the NFL today? Holy smokes.
Yeah, that's interesting.
He's facing life in prison.
And he's not doing live. He's not going to do live. I don't think he will do. I just feel like those types of.
When did you become a legal expert?
I'm just saying, people like that usually get the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he's going to get life in prison. Why the hell, if you called reporting this stuff, then do you want to go looking for him? Like that there's just so many. This is fascinating.
Yeah, like I'm not sure exactly of the overall timeline here. I know I just read the article, but like from what I read there, items went missing in his Airbnb, and then to try to, I guess, get them back or hold the people accountable for it, you kidnap them.
Yeah,
that's some approach.
That's something.
All righty, this is Zach Gelb Show right here on 365 Sports. We will take a timeout. We will come on back. Where will LeBron James play next season? We'll get to that on the other side. Plus, Cole Thompson is going to join us coming up at the top of the hour.
The 4-burner, side sear burner with Clearview glass stainless steel grill from Monument Grills. Made of tempered glass, which is strong, insulated, and allows you to check your grilling without lifting the lid. Our porcelain-coated cast iron cooking grids offer a large cooking surface of 513.3 square inches, primary cooking area, with even heat cooking. The Monument Grills include LED control knobs and are easy to light with pilotless electronic ignition. Better grilling, better value, Monument Grills.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
I'm Abby Dommett, 2023 CrossFit Games athlete, and I use Airwave because it helps me breathe easier and stay more relaxed during my workouts.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Very discreet.
Do you have a second?
Yeah, come on in.
Thanks. I'm having an issue with Ralph.
With Ralph?
He keeps stealing my lunch.
He's just researching new flavors.
That is slow smoked turkey.
Ralph steals my lunch all the time. You get used to it.
He also peed on my bag.
He is warming up to you. You know, starting a new job, it's a big change. I want you to think about how you can be more accommodating to Ralph. We're all co-owners here.
If I'm only wearing one suit this summer, it has to be Tuileries Performance Linen. It's wrinkle resistant, machine washable, and built with stretch and breathability that actually moves with you. It'll keep you cool, sharp, and stress-free at your next event.
What does being different mean to me? You know, that is an interesting question.
Because there really isn't one way. There's a bunch of different ways you could do it.
But love is passion. Something you can't live without.
What do you want?
You know, what's that really good non-alcoholic beer I keep hearing about?
Do you have that really great non-alcoholic beer that I keep seeing?
You mean athletic? You're looking at it.
It's athletic. Ask for it.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Yo, yo, it is the Zach Gelb Show right here on 365 Sports. The NBA offseason has been crazy, by the way. Giannis Antetokounmpo traded to the Miami Heat. That deal can't be official until July 6th. You had the NBA draft the other night with AJ Debinca going 1 to the Wizards, then with the second overall pick. You did have Darren Peterson going to the Utah Jazz. And then with the third overall pick, you had Cameron Boozer going with the third overall selection in the draft. And he went to Memphis. So you look at the state of the NBA right now. Giannis on the move. LaMelo Ball today gets traded for a huge package to Minnesota. And now you have Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball There's also speculation on Kawhi Leonard, but with that whole investigation, I don't know if you could trade for Kawhi Leonard right now. Kevin Durant could be on the move as well. So there's a lot of names that are lurking out there, and we're waiting to see what's going to transpire. You also have LeBron James, who's about to become a free agent. And LeBron James, the expectation is he'll be back with the Lakers. I just don't know how likely that is that he's definitely going to be with the Lakers. Like, I do think that the odds suggest, and obviously the most likely scenario is that he'll probably be back in the Lakers. I just don't know if it's a foregone conclusion, because here's the problem. The Lakers just paid Austin Reeves mega dollars. They have Luka Doncic. LeBron right now for another year, what is that contract going to look like? And the Lakers have made it clear they're going to ask LeBron to take less, right? That's what the reporting. And there was other reports that indicate, like, if LeBron does take less, or if you're going to get him to take less, he's going to want a thorough explanation. So I saw Brian Windhorst was on the ESPN earlier this morning, and he said, I think this is going to go one of two ways. Either the Lakers bring the number to LeBron first and say, this is the number we're paying you, and explain why they're paying him, and then make their other moves. Or they make their other moves and then go, LeBron, we made moves X, Y, and Z. We did this to improve our team. We did this with thinking you would be on our team at this number. And this is all that we could give you. If you think we go win a championship this year, take the money, come on back. If not, we'll get you somewhere else. And if he goes somewhere else, which I don't think is inconceivable, the most likely destination people are going to float out then would be a return to Cleveland. Started his career in Cleveland, left to go to Miami, won 2 championships, then went back to Cleveland. The best moment of LeBron's career was down 3-1, coming on back, the Draymond suspension, the heroic Game 6 performance by him and Kyrie, the great block in Game 7, the Kyrie shot, coming on back from down 3-1. Cleveland, this is for you. You win the championship. Then he left Cleveland and won a championship in Los Angeles. If he goes back to Cleveland to end his career, it's a nice ending. Like, I would have an appetite to see LeBron play in Cleveland, but it would probably be via a sign and trade. And if you're Cleveland, because you got to make the money work, I'm not giving up Mobley at his age for 1 or 2 years of LeBron. And I don't even know if I'm giving up Jared Allen at the age of 28, even though LeBron's like obviously a better player than Jared Allen. But I don't know if I'm giving I don't even know if I am going to give up at 28 years old Jared Allen for 1 year of LeBron. So, like, I could understand why there would be a desire to have LeBron back if you're Cleveland, but at what price? And is just a 1 year reunion actually worth it? So I look at this with saying this, and I laid it out that way in particular. If a week and a half ago, someone asked me and they said, Zach, do you think there's a chance LeBron goes back to Miami this offseason and ends his career in Miami? I would say no. I would say, have him and Pat Riley communicated since their ugly divorce? Yes. We've seen videos of that. But LeBron going to Miami wouldn't really have a purpose for me a week and a half ago. It's like, oh, you're just going there to play your final season? Like, we look at LeBron, you think of Cleveland first, then he made his most controversial decision, going to Miami with the decision and all that. Like, I get that, but it doesn't feel like the LeBron chapter should end in Miami. But then Miami goes out and trades for Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Miami now has Bam and Giannis, and those are 2 phenomenal pieces. Giannis, top 7 player in the league. We know Bam is an excellent player. They need shooters, though. And LeBron's not a shooter, but LeBron can handle the basketball. They need a backcourt. So I look at LeBron, and I'm not saying it's the likeliest destination, but I do think there's a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance. I do think there's a chance that LeBron James winds up with the Miami Heat. And just so happens, Rich Paul, LeBron's guy, does a podcast with Max Kellerman. And this can mean a whole lot. This can mean very little. But he's talking about Miami, and he wasn't talking about LeBron, but he said, we all know Miami isn't done yet. Miami's a destination again. It doesn't mean Miami's going to win a championship, but Miami is a destination once again. And I was also in that interview that I referenced earlier today with Brian Windhorst. I was listening to Windhorst talk about the state of LeBron and the state of the Miami Heat. And I thought Windhorst said this, which was interesting. He said, when talking about the Heat, and you would think they'd be in like win now mode just because of how old Pat Riley is. But he said, when talking about the Heat, like you can make plans to watch their games this year when their schedule comes out. But he goes, don't make plans for May and June until 2028. And what he means by that is like Miami's going to be improved this year. Miami's going to be good this year, but they're not going to be a title contender. And I don't know what moves they're going to make. I don't. Like, they're going to go get shooters. Like, maybe it's Chris Middleton. Maybe it's Klay Thompson. I've seen Anthony Simons talked about. Maybe it's a reunion with Gabe Vincent. I know that I know he's not a shooter, but they brought back Pelle Larson the other day on a cheap contract. Like, Miami's going to have to make a lot of moves. But it wasn't that long ago that you had Wade Bosch and LeBron in Miami, and there wasn't a lot of players on that roster, and then they found a way to make the moves and go win a championship. So I look at Miami. I think after getting Giannis and having Giannis and Bam without knowing what the rest of their team's going to look like, here's what I'll say that they are right now. They're out of the play-in tournament. Like, Miami should be a top 6 seed in the Eastern Conference. And Miami with Giannis and Bam and without knowing what the rest of the roster looks like, they should be able, not will, but they should be able to get to the second round of the playoffs. Like, I'm not willing to say Miami's going to go to the conference championship. I'm not willing to say Miami's going to go to the NBA finals because I don't know how Giannis and Bam are going to fit. I don't know what the rest of the team is going to look like. But I would like to think that when you look at the state of the East, the Knicks are the best team. And then you see the rest of the way that this is constructed in the East. Like, the Pistons are solid. The Magic, I got some concerns about them. The Sixers, they're not really to be trusted. Boston's still going to be really good. Like, Cleveland's still going to be good. Like, they should be a 4th, a 5th, or a 6th seed. And, like, just because you're a 4th seed playing a 5 or a 6th seed playing, it doesn't mean that you're definitely going to win a playoff series. But I would like to think with Giannis Antetokounmpo, who won an NBA championship with Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday. If Giannis won a championship with not the greatest 2 and 3, and Middleton's a good player, like Drew Holiday's a good player, but if he won a championship with that roster in Milwaukee, and they had some nice guys like Bobby Portis who's in the deal, I think Pat Connaughton was there. Like, they had some guys. Like, it was a good team. But it's not like a team that, like, you definitely said, oh, they're definitely going to win a championship. But if Giannis could win a championship with that roster, I do think that with Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra and the Ayrton family running the show there, that they're going to build a team around Giannis and Bam that at some point is going to be really good. Not great. Not definitely win a championship. Not definitely get back to an NBA Finals. Like, those teams with Jimmy Butler, they got to 2 NBA Finals. It wasn't like they were great teams. But I think with Giannis, as long as he's healthy, Miami now is relevant again. And when Miami's relevant again, other moves can really follow that makes them really good. And getting Giannis there for a 3-4 year stretch, it may not happen overnight. It may not happen this year. But in year 1, I think you win a playoff series, people be happy. And then year 2, it's like, okay, you made some moves. Now you got to go make bigger moves, and you really got to go for it. So I think the way that Windhorst said it was probably best. We're 2027, they're a team you're going to want to watch. They're a team that you're going to want to see them in the regular season. But when you get to May and June, that's when it does get blown out of proportion. How about you, Garrett? I know you're not the biggest basketball fan in the world, but when it comes to LeBron James, what's the most appealing story? Him going back to LA to wrap up his career there with Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic, him going home to Cleveland to wrap up his career, or maybe he takes his talents back down to South Beach to join Giannis and Bam Adebayo?
I think, okay, so how I view this is the most intriguing story for me with LeBron would be wrapping it up in Cleveland. I think having a homecoming going and just doing that would make
home.
I think that would make the most sense.
Tell the world that I'm coming home.
The Lakers, to me, it feels like this has ran its course, and it feels like the Lakers don't know how to tell LeBron we want to move on and turn this over to Luka and the young guys in Austin and just let them run it. So I don't think him going – I would put him going back to the Lakers probably second, him going to Cleveland first.
In terms of your appetite.
My appetite. I would love to go watch him with Giannis and Bam. I think that would be fun.
Sounds like a football team, honestly.
Yeah,
sounds like an AFC North football team.
It does. But when they made that trade, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, okay, would this be enough to draw LeBron back there? I mean, it's a viable option. I feel more likely that he would be inclined to go play there than he would be back to come back and play in LA. So I would say storyline Cleveland. Then Miami and last LA is where I would want to see for LeBron.
Here would be the appealing part of him going back to LA. And I agree, I feel like LA should just move on.
Yeah, they need to.
Here's the thing though. Last year, before the injury to Reeves and Luka, that team was I'm not saying they would have been better than the Thunder. I'm not saying they would have been better than the Spurs, but they were cruising. And LeBron, he's never really a third piece. That's Luka's team. LeBron's said, I'm the third piece. Reeves was in front of him. Now they paid Reeves. So long term, Luka and Reeves are more important than LeBron. But Reeves doesn't usurp LeBron James. It's it was Bam's team in Miami the last 2 years. Giannis goes there. He's the best player. It's his team. Bam would still be the 3 if LeBron's there as the 2. But LeBron would be like, hey, I'm the third piece.
Right.
Here. I find this interesting, though, because I mentioned the Rich Paul comments, which are ambiguous, but they can get spun. How about yesterday? LeBron James on his Instagram story randomly posting a press conference clip. I think this was when Giannis actually lost to the Heat in the playoffs. And someone asked Giannis, is this season a failure because you didn't win the championship? And Giannis wrote, Michael Jordan played 15 years, won 6 championships. The other 9 years were a failure. And it was a bad look for Giannis because, I get what he's saying. You don't have to win the championship each and every year, but you lose to the Heat, who are a play-in tournament team. It's a bad look. It's a bad look. So LeBron randomly, this is years ago, posts this yesterday, right after, it's the day after the Heat trading for Giannis. Wonderful wisdom here by him. Failure only exists when you refuse to try. Now, there's 2 LeBron thoughts here. Because LeBron at times could be an egotistical douche.
Some LeBron.
LeBron could be posting this just because he saw it. And he's like, oh, Giannis is in the news. Let me just post this because everyone tells me I lost in the NBA Finals. I don't have as many championships as MJ. He's very insecure about that. So, that could be why LeBron is posting this. Or LeBron could be posting this because he's thinking, not that he will, but that he's thinking about Giannis and Bam and Giannis. And I don't I'm not saying it's likely he goes to Miami, but I don't think it's that far-fetched for this reason. Lakers come back to him and they go, we're making you take a pay cut. We're going to give you a new contract, but we need you to take lesser money. He may not like the explanation.
Right.
Or he's maybe not liking the way that the Lakers built this team this offseason, which whatever the future moves are, and maybe it just doesn't entice him. Then, all right, get me to Cleveland. I know I'm a free agent, but, let's do a sign and trade, get me to Cleveland. Cleveland could then say, LeBron, we don't want to give up Jared Allen or Evan Mobley to go get you. We're not sacrificing 5 years for 1 year of LeBron. And I don't even know if LeBron is only going to play 1 more year. I still don't know if this would be LeBron's final year. So if the Lakers and him have a falling out, which is possible, I still think the likeliest outcome is he does go back to LA. But it's not a lock. That's what I was trying to say earlier.
Right.
So it's not inconceivable that they have some contention, they head to a divorce.
Yeah.
If Cleveland says, we're good.
It's Miami.
Then, where else? Could he go to Golden State? Sure.
I don't think he would do that.
I think he would because he would want to play with Steph. Like there are other destinations out there, but like I do feel as if it would be pointless to go to Golden State. Like as long as the Lakers and him have a falling out, and the big one is Cleveland then saying no. If Cleveland says no, I do think Miami go live down there. You've lived there before. Great weather, fun time. You and Pat, right? Men fences and all that. You like Spo, and you're friendly with Giannis. And then also from the Olympic team, he has a decent relationship, at least from photos that I've seen, with Bam Adebayo.
Right.
It's not likely, but it's not far-fetched that LeBron James takes his talents back down to South Beach and you dust off Jim Gray for another decision. It's not crazy.
No, it's not. And honestly, like, I don't think LeBron, like, he's very calculated. He's very calculated. So on that Giannis thing, if Giannis was traded to Orlando, he's not posting that. LeBron's not posting that. It's because he went to Miami. I don't think he does.
He still may post it because it could go back to the insecurities of the whole MJ debate. That is something he's a sensitive baby about.
He is, but this feels even more calculated and planned. I get that, but if he would have been traded to another team and it wouldn't have been the Heat, or if it would have been the Cavs, like it's the fact that he was traded to a team LeBron's been a part of before, and he's intrigued, which is why I think he did it.
Or
he's
just a drama whore.
I know he's a drama whore. 1,000%.
Like, this could just be, I know how people are going to spin this. I'm really not interested in Miami. Let me just throw this out there, this random Giannis clip. And like, oh, I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
This is just some random clip that I saw that's years old. I'm just going to post it.
Yeah.
And it's just, now
we're talking about
start.
It.
Because LeBron
so
loves
won.
the speculation.
Exactly.
LeBron did the decision. LeBron then had that great letter on I'm coming home to Cleveland.
Yes.
Then in Los Angeles, right? Like, there was drama involving that. Whenever LeBron becomes free and is leaving, there's always drama. There's always something interesting. And this could be the start of the drama stirring pot with LeBron. He's stirring up the pot. That's what he's doing.
That's
he's
exactly
stirring
what
up
he's
the
doing,
pot
bro.
right now. And we're taking a major bite out of the LeBron James apple right now.
Yep.
There is. I'm not hiding behind that. Like, I'm fully acknowledging this is one of three options here. LeBron just wants to defend himself with MJ.
Yep.
LeBron is just being a drama whore, or LeBron is thinking about going down to Miami.
Yep.
Now, they still may not have any shooters there, but LeBron, Bam, and Giannis would be a fun team to. Oh, absolutely, I would.
Well, see, that's the thing. That's the thing. Miami, dude. It's more about they're one of those few cities where it's about the star power, bringing the people out. You put LeBron and Giannis down there, that's gonna be a packed house every night.
Think about the players that are Miami right now. Messi. You then have Tony and Mensah for Miami. The Panthers are basically like trying to be the Dodgers and the Warriors.
Matthew and them,
where you got Kachuk, Matthew and Brady. You have Barkov. It looks like Bobrovsky's on his way out, but then they may be trading for. There's some rumors that they're going to trade for Hellebuck.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like, you look at the stars that the Panthers have.
Yeah, Marchand.
All right. Forget the Marlins, but then the Heat could potentially have. They already have Giannis and Bam, and they can get LeBron. Whew.
That's how that city thrives.
I'll take my reservation at Joe's Stone Crab right now.
For real.
Some people like to go to Prime 112, delicious. Some people like to go to
Joe's Stone Crab.
The Carbone down there. Have you been to Joe's?
I've been to the one in Vegas. I haven't been to the one actually in Miami. I've never been to Florida.
Oh my God.
I've never been to Florida.
Best $12 or $8 fried chicken I've ever had was at Joe's Stone Crab.
Really?
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. And then the stone crabs are delicious. And the hash browns, well done, are very good. The lobster mac, the coconut shrimp. Oh, boy. I'm going to Florida. My grandma is turning 95. So we have to go to Florida at the end of August. I will be taking a little trip before the Sunday get-together on Saturday to probably go to Joe's. That would probably be what I end up doing. All righty, Cole Thompson's in the house. He's going to join us on the other side. It is the Zach Gelb Show right here on 365 Sports.
What I love most about playing basketball is the competition. I really just like being shifted, mastering hesitation moves, changing direction, building chemistry with new teammates. If you're not having fun while you're playing, it's no point in playing the game. You know what to do. Escape Basic. Pair of Thieves quick dry underwear. It wicks away sweat and helps keep you dry. You looking forward to fishing season?
Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com.
I'm here to work out with you.
We did not put this little cookie cutter program together.
I'm in there with you, sweating, yelling, doing the damn thing.
Transform by Core Home Fitness.
A secret, I travel internationally every year. I struggle with insomnia both at home and especially in hotels. This was life-changing. It's called Fly Kit. My favorite aspect of the Fly Kit is it tells you when to sleep.
Dude, check out this robe. This is the dude robe. It's perfect for after the shower, gym, or even the beach. This thing is awesome. It also has this super premium towel lining to dry you off right away. Dude, what are you waiting for? Get yourself a dude robe today.
At Dreamy, we believe that life can be upgraded in comfort, convenience, and joy. He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Alrighty, this is Zach Gelb Show right here on 365 Sports. Cole Thompson does it all. Morning drive each and every weekday, Monday through Friday down in Houston. You can also check him out, SEC Unfiltered. And then also, I was catching up with my buddy Tom Hannafan the other day, and he's like, oh, I know this guy Cole Thompson. And I'm like, well, how many Cole Thompsons can there be? And Cole and Tom, they do a podcast together called The Power 2, and we'll have an interview tomorrow with Tom Hannafan, who we love, big fan of Tom. That will be dropping right here on our youtube.com/@365sports YT channel right at 12 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So now let's welcome in a man that has many jobs and probably just got another job in the last 5 seconds. He's Cole Thompson. How are you, my friend?
Dude, like, I never sleep. I tell my wife all the time, she's like, when do you stop working? And I'm like, when I'm dead. You know, you just you sign up for this life, man. I mean, like, she knew what she was getting into in 2019. So it's like, hey, welcome to the party.
You know what? I usually do not get tired from working. We have great jobs. We get to talk about this stuff, and like, we get to do it in shorts and a t-shirt. Like, I'm wearing a collared shirt today. I got blue mesh shorts on underneath it. So I used to never get tired, even when I was doing the weekend overnights and like not sleeping or anything like that. Friday, I did EI in Boston 2 to 6.
Oh God.
Then I did FAN from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Had to get in the, then had to wake up at 6 in the morning on Saturday, do 8 to 11 a.m. on EEI, then drive. I was doing it from New York, then drive to Hummelstown, Pennsylvania, Hershey, Pennsylvania. Had an event with the girlfriend that we had to go to. Then got back Sunday into the city, did 5 to 8 on the fan, and then have been doing 12 to 2 and 2 to 6 this week. 12 to 2 here, and then 2 to 6 on WQAM. I'm on vacation starting today at 6 p.m. I'm going down to the Jersey Shore. I cannot wait to be on the beach tomorrow, and I'm just going to be sleeping. Because this is the first time I've looked at the mirror and I go, oh, like many people probably look at the mirror. They go, oh, when they see me. But the bags under my eyes, oh, I'm getting tired to speak.
So I remember when I got started in the industry and they were like, hey, you get your own show. It's from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. And by the way, you're also the permanent fill-in on this side. So whenever the summer rolled around, it was like, hey, you're doing 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. I hope that you like that musty couch smell in the back room. Yeah. Because if you're probably going on at 9 o'clock in the morning to do 9 to 12. And like, that was just the norm like back then. So, dude, I went on vacation less than a week ago. I was in the Bahamas. My phone service completely shut down. Like they didn't want to give, they were like, oh yeah, you can pay $50 if you want to be able to have Wi-Fi for the next day and a half. And I'm like, you know what? I don't need this. My wife looked at me and said, I've never seen you more rejuvenized. The bags under your eyes, they feel like they got tattooed, filled on in. Who knew that all you needed was a little bit of sleep and a bit of relaxation to go ahead and shut your ass up?
Cole Thompson here with us does a great job, SEC Unfiltered. You know Jody McDonald, right? Jody Mack?
Yes. Who doesn't know Jody McDonald? Fantastic person.
So Jody does 10,000 jobs. Like we used to always joke, is Jody going to get the phone line right? Because he would be on like the Fan and would be giving the phone number out for WIP in Philadelphia. So Jody and I, I've known Jody forever. Great dude, but he's a character. Jody had one of those nights where he was at our 345 Hudson Street studios and he had to get like 3-4 hours of sleep before doing his next show. So it was a weekend, and one of the big executives that like isn't based out of New York, but she was in New York for the weekend, came into the station and was like walking around the offices and sees a guy sleeping on the couch. And she called security thinking it was a homeless guy, but it was Jody who was sleep deprived, not shaven, and then woke up. And
what was he wearing at this point? That's the big question. I
have no clue.
I don't want to know, actually.
But he was like, hey, it's Jody Mack. And she goes, oh, Jody, sorry. She goes, I thought you were a homeless guy.
I thought you were a hobo that just walked on the streets, bro.
And she called security. Oh, it's one of my favorite stories. All right, let's talk a little Sorsby first. Then we'll get into the SEC. The supplemental draft, the NFL just saying, yeah, we're not going to hold it. I get it. It's their right. It's weird to say Sorsby got screwed because he did the wrong.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel as if the team should have decided if they were going to draft him or not in the supplemental draft, not just the NFL saying, oh, we don't have enough time to investigate this.
Look, what needs to happen is the NFLPA's got to step on in and say, we're not doing a supplemental draft, but if you want to sign this cat because now he's technically a free agent, do so. But I at least somewhat appreciate the NFL stepping on up and making it abundantly clear what I've said for a while. Dude, you're not special. Like, you're not this talent that is just so ungodly willing to be able to come on in, touch base, and immediately kick the crap out of everybody. Like, that's kind of the bottom line, is that Sorsby is a talented player that may end up having a decent career if he's ever given the opportunity to make it to the NFL. But there was no reason to look at him and say these rules and addendums need to be broken beyond belief from Cody Campbell's side and from Kirby Hocutt's side and from the president of Texas Tech side and then going on into the NFL. This is a guy that broke the cardinal sin of just sports in general. It's bottom line. You can say what you want about gambling. You can talk about how every show these days that talks about sports has a sponsor with Kalshi, Polymarket, FanDuel, DraftKings, whatever it is. The bottom line is you don't bet on your own team. And that's where you lose all the argument and sympathy for me when it comes to Brendan Sorsby. I understand that gambling addictions are real. Men's mental health awareness month is going on right now in June. That's totally understandable. But when you break rules that
we have a month? We have a men's mental health month?
Awareness month.
Usually us men, we never get any months. You get like Father's Day.
Look at you and me. We're thrown to the wayside. Like, you guys, you're in shorts talking about random stuff for a living. Like, go ahead and speak your opinion. You don't need mental health awareness month. But like, I understand that this is a major problem that goes on, and addiction is a real thing. But when Pete Rose is gambling on his team to win games and is not allowed to enter the Major League Hall of Fame and is banned by baseball, and college football is throwing a slap on the wrist on a kid who, let me remind everybody, did not have a winning record at Cincinnati, and saying, oh, no harms, bygones be bygones, just get a bipartisan and party involved down in Lubbock, Texas, even though he has no ties to the program, and have an addendum thrown on in that will allow you to be able to play football next season. It's kind of a slap in the face to everybody who has gone through this before. And Zach, let me ask you this, because this is where I kind of this is where I kind of stood my ground on it. There's not a single player in college football, in my opinion, outside of maybe Tim Tebow, just because of how good of a goody two-shoes he was in college, that I think anybody would go to these lengths for to be able to defend at this level. And let me remind everybody of this as well, whether it was Brendan Sorsby saying, thanks, but no thanks, I don't want to deal with all the backlash that comes with the Big 12 now that they're getting attorney generals and Ken Paxton and the state of Texas legislator involved? Or was Cody Campbell saying, we'll pay you your money, we just do not need this dwindling over our heads as we're trying to once again compete for a Big 12 title? Brendan Sorsby still got paid $5 million and is probably losing a part of that because of bad legal advice. And the worst part is that the NFLPA could have, the NFL could have easily said at one point, we are going to allow this NFL supplemental draft to happen. If the letter brought up the major issues that were mentioned throughout this entire process, he never was sorry. He never made it clear that he was learning from the errors of his ways. He never made it abundant that he is going to be a changed man at this. He kind of just said, look, I'm off to the NFL. I hope that an NFL team can draft me. If one team is lucky enough to have me join their camp, I cannot wait to be able to prove doubters wrong. And so the NFL said, dude, you're not built like Tom Brady. You're not as talented as Patrick Mahomes. We're going to not allow you to come play this year. Try it in 2027. And this is where I do feel bad for Sorsby. In 2027, he would be probably the 7th or 8th best quarterback just on paper going into the draft. And now he's not going to have a full year play. So what is that? 7th round pick? Undrafted free agent? If you're going to do that, you might as well just let him sign with a team right now and prove that he's got the chops to make it in the NFL.
I never thought about it this way, but when you were going through that incredible rant that you just did, and you asked me, like, has there ever been a player that would be worth it? I'll spin it to you a different way.
Okay.
Now, Arch Manning would never do this. The Manning family would never let Arch get to this point. But if this was Arch Manning, are we having a supplemental draft? Because I think we would be.
We're having a supplemental draft, probably. That's the thing. It's talent. Talent outweighs everything. And you and I know this well as possible, Zach. Like at the end of the day, the more talented you are, the more BS level you're allowed to have.
For example, just real quickly, and this is a Houston sports point, sort of, Deshaun Watson. They still got back with all those allegations, 3 first-round picks, and then Cleveland gave him a fully guaranteed contract. Why? They thought he was talented enough.
When you are a top, and remember, he was coming off of that year. It was a COVID year, but still, he was leading the NFL in passing yards while playing for a 4-12 team, where his best receiver ended up being Brandon Cooks because Bill O'Brien thought that DeAndre Hopkins' attitude wasn't culturally a good fit, so trade you for a bag of balls and David Johnson's goes at that point. When you're able to do that, talent outweighs everything. And that's why when you go ahead and have that much amount of talent, teams will be willing to put up with more. Arch Manning this past year was eligible for the draft. And whether or not we think that he had an elite season, he still would have been a first-round pick. One team would have seen all the traits and would have watched the way he grew from that Mississippi State game on all the way through the bowl game. And they would have said that there is something in there that we can untap to a new level. And he would have been a first-round pick. Would he have been the number 1 overall pick? Who's to say? But would he have been considered by the Jets at number 2? I think so. Would he have been considered by the Arizona Cardinals at number 3, knowing that Kyler Murray was out the door? Hell yeah, he would have. And so when you have that amount of talent, there's going to be a process that goes that way. The NFL basically told you Brendan Sorsby is a good player. He's not worthy of going through all of these antics and going through all of these processes and due diligence of giving up draft compensation, holding a supplemental pet draft in July for what? A guy who's going to be a 5th round pick? Because even if he was worthy of, say, a 3rd round pick, like Tom Pelissero has reported and several others have reported, and the film does say he probably would have been a late day 2, early day 3 selection, you're still doing with the NFL that could easily come on down and slap him with a suspension, and the sheer fact of we do not know where you are mentally through your rehabilitation process of this entire gambling scandal that led you to leave Lubbock, Texas, and not have to play in 2026.
The other thing here, too, is, and I'd say this from the jump, the way that some draft experts are talking about Sorsby right now. What college football was I watching last year? Like, and also, how is he the number 1 quarterback in the transfer portal? Like, that never, I'd rather have Darian Mensah over him all day.
That's not even up for debate. I mean, like, Zach, for me, I don't mind saying this anymore because I've already brought it out and publicized on every single podcast and place I work already. I thought he was the most overrated quarterback, not only in the transfer portal, in college football, period. There were so many things about his game that were really promising in spurts. But let me remind everybody this. He had 1 300-yard game against a Power 4 team in his 2 years in Cincinnati. His best game probably came against FCS Towson. And he was terrible for a majority of that performance against Nebraska and Kansas City. And you're going to go play now for a team like Texas Tech that maybe didn't want to pay a bunch of money to go land, say, a Sam Levin. Maybe didn't want to dealing with the potential injuries. Maybe want to get somebody who could be a proven commodity. But you were going to go on in and be that much of an upgrade over what you currently have with Will Hammond waiting in the wings, a Will Hammond that many people thought was better than Baron Morton, and you're probably at best his playing level for $5 million. Let me remind everybody also, they had to pay a $1 million buyout to get out of his NIL deal signed with Cincinnati and then deal with the headache of the gambling addiction scandal that now has led to them basically parting ways with Sorsby for the better. He, in my opinion, was the 4th or 5th best quarterback transfer on the market, and I'm in full agreement with you. I think Darian Mensah is going to be a stud when he lands down in Coral Gables and Shannon Dawson's offense. Proof of concept says that you could play at a Heisman caliber level. You could lead your team to the college football playoff because Cam Ward did everything possible to lead Miami to the playoff. It's not his fault that he had Lance Guidry as his defense coordinator that year, and it was just basically a wing and a prayer and hope to God that this sticks. I thought that you had Sam Levitt that was a better fit. I very much like the addition that they brought on into Duke and David Edgar from San Jose State. Now, I'm not saying that him and Sorsby are comparable, but for the price and the value of what you were getting, I see Texas Tech as a team that, because of what they have currently in play, good running back room, solid offensive line, exceptional wide receiver tandem, especially with Coy Eakin coming back for another year, bringing in the San Diego State transfer to replace what you lose in Wilson. I think that they are going to be a very, very, very good team and still the team to beat in the Big 12. But we're talking about trying to win a national championship. How many games is Brendan Sorsby going to win in the playoffs for you? 1? 2? So is that really worth it? $5 million for a guy that's going to get you to the second round if you don't already have the bye. And if you're lucky, you go to the semifinals just to get your ass kicked by Miami, Ohio State. I'd go so far to say maybe at LSU if they get there. Ole Miss still has Trey Chambliss. You had probably the 19th or 20th best quarterback in college football, and you were paying him top 5 money. It just shows you that, again, having a really good agent, having a really, really, really good PR camp, you can get you paid in college football these days.
Cole Thompson here with us. All righty, let's get off of the Sorsby situation. Let's go into the SEC with you. I'll start with the team that is very close to your heart. What's going on with Alabama this season?
Oh, God.
Tell me about Alabama.
Kalen. Let's talk about Kalen DeBoer. It's an unknown, which is kind of a weird theory to have with Alabama because you usually know who Alabama football is, but that doesn't mean it's bad. If you told me today Alabama does not make the college football playoff and they go 9-3, I wouldn't be shocked. It's a bunch of new, and it's a bunch of unknown new, which is a problem because for Alabama, we're so accustomed of hearing underneath the Nick Saban tree, hey, we got a 5-star waiting in the wings. If he played anywhere else in college football, he would have started as a true freshman. Well, now he's not because of, let's just call it as is. You got to wait behind an already All-American. And now you're not seeing those players wait around anymore because of the transfer portal and because of NIL. But just because of it's new, it doesn't make it bad. Everyone complained last year about the offensive line. The offensive line was dreadful. It was one of the worst parts of the units and really struggled to find any bit of an identity. Okay, well, they went out and they brought in 3 new players via the transfer portal, and 3 of the guys left either for the draft or for the transfer portal. So that's a really good sign that having a John Carroll back is a building block. Adding in the Michigan transfer is a good sign in the right direction. Adding in a couple of transfers is going to benefit the experience level. Everyone complained about the running back tandem. Alabama's known for running back culture down there. I mean, look at the guys from TJ Yeldon and Derrick Henry, Trent Richardson, Mark Ingram. Go back to just Josh Jacobs and Najee Harris a few years ago. And Jam Miller and company ranked 125th in rushing. That's not the standard down in Tuscaloosa. So you go out and you make some moves and you bring in some good pieces, including Crowell, one of the best young running backs in last year's recruiting cycle. You just don't know what it is. It doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's an unknown commodity. The defense is still going to be very much, I think, the backbone of this team. They arguably have the best secondary in college football for my liking. They're filled with depth back there, even with the names that they did lose to the NFL draft. And I like some of the additions that they brought in. The Virginia Tech safety that's going to be playing linebacker this year is a really nice complementary piece. I love the fact they have depth on the defensive line. Kane Womack, I think, has his players in motion. And all this team now is built in the identity of Kalen DeBoer. There's no longer the Nick Saban layover kids. This is all a Kalen DeBoer-led team, including the most important position at quarterback. And I was texting with a buddy of mine that's on the beat, and he said what everyone else has told me. If they had to go with Austin Mack week one, they feel confident that he could get them to the college football playoff. He's that well adjusted into Ryan Grubb's offense. They also feel that exact same way about Keelan Russell. And Keelan Russell, I think, has way more upside just because of the mobility aspect of things, his height, his frame, what he was able to do going up against top defenses in the state of Texas at Duncanville. He can be that difference maker. But having stability at quarterback is essential for a Kalen DeBoer roster, because we've seen this with Ryan Grubb, especially at Fresno State and then later on at Washington. Michael Penix and Jake Haener were the reason why we talked about Kalen DeBoer as one of the biggest rising names. And Ty Simpson was a fine player, but Ty Simpson was a layaway from the Nick Saban era. These are two guys that were handpicked by the head coach to kind of turn the corner. Alabama's an unknown, if we're going to be real, Zach, but at the same time, just humor me. What if Alabama losing to a Florida State randomly on a week one appearance and an unranked headline by Diego Pavia Vanderbilt roster is rock bottom for Alabama? Like, what if that's the new norm for, like, what if that is the bare minimum of a Kalen DeBoer era? Okay, so if that's rock bottom, what's the ceiling? Oh, look at that. Once again, you're still competing for national titles. You're still winning in recruiting, which right now they're not, but I don't think you have to really worry about that at this point. You got to worry about it come November. You got to worry about it when you're trying to go ahead and flip a recruit at the last second from LSU to come to Tuscaloosa. But what if you're still able to kill it in the portal and NIL is blossoming and you're always going to go 11-1 and be a playoff contender and be in the hunt for a national championship? Like, that's a scary thought, because a lot of people thought that Alabama was going to disappear. I don't think that they disappear. They're just no longer the surefire favorite to go win a national title every year. And that's because of the Nick Saban tax. Doesn't mean that they're a bad team. Just makes them an unknown. An unknown sometimes is really scary compared to the rest of the college football public.
So I'm an OG Kalen DeBoer supporter, even before Washington. I had him on my show when he was at Fresno State. I love Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah.
With that being said, I will be annoyed if Mac wins this job. I want to see Keelan Russell be the starting quarterback. He sat last year. I get it. Ty Simpson, all that stuff. If he can't beat out Mac, what the heck does that say about Russell right now?
He's going to beat out Mac.
I think so too. I'm not buying this stuff right now.
No, it's what it is that, like, think of it like the way of, think of it like Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa a little bit. Like, not to a degree of where the second year. Let's go with that. If you had to start Jalen Hurts, you were fine. Like, Jalen Hurts led you to a national title. Jalen Hurts was a good enough quarterback to get you through an SEC season, and you were winning by so much that, hell, Tua played in the fourth quarter and he dazzled and he made everybody realize Alabama's unstoppable with these two quarterbacks. Like that's really it. That's Austin Mack and Keelan Russell. If anything happened to Tua, they would turn to Jalen and they would say, your team, once again, go ahead and win the job back. And he did. And he had arguably the biggest moment of the Nick Saban back end of his tenure era. So much so that Nick Saban openly was emotional on national television because of that comeback against Georgia as the redemption arc in the SEC championship game. But everyone knew it was still Tua's job. It was always Tua. That's what you have right now. Keelan Russell is Tua. The ceiling is much higher. The experience is just an unknown. Doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. He has all the chops of what you want to be a difference maker at quarterback. If you threw him in any other offense right now, there'd be no question. He would be QB1 for about 120 other teams in college football, and there wouldn't even be a quarterback debate. The thing is just Austin Mack came on in that bowl game against Indiana, where it was too late, and he was somewhat impressive. He made some really good throws. He made some really good decisions when, you know, his back was against the wall and it hit the fan. I mean, like, that's why you got to give him a fair shake. But
I'll give you one more on the comparisons. I feel like this is the same quarterback competition that we saw last year at South Bend with Kenny Minchie and CJ Carr. Carr should win, but there was a moment where everyone's like, oh, Minchie's going to beat out Carr. And then Carr played, and Carr was damn good, and now Minchie's getting an opportunity with Will Stein at Kentucky. Like, I look at that in terms of there's going to be a lot of noise at times that Mac's going to win the job. I'd be stunned, shocked, floored if it's not Keelan Russell week 1.
Like, if you put Austin Mack in a Josh Heupel offense, if Josh Heupel could have it his way and say, dude, I will trade you, I'll give you a 5-star wide receiver to go get Mack. If we could actually make that happen in college football, Mack would win the starting job over George McIntyre and Faison Brandon. Like, that's not even remotely close. That's how good of a player he is. But just because you're a good player doesn't mean that you're automatically going to win the job. It's a great comp with Kenny Minchie, because you talk to people out in Lexington, they are beyond excited about what he's going to do in a Will Stein offense. And that's because of what he did throughout camp. And you felt good if you were Notre Dame. Hey, if Carr struggles or he gets hurt, we can turn to Minchie at any point. But you knew it was CJ Carr's job to lose. This is Keelan Russell's job to lose. You don't get 5-star plus talents to stick around in offseason. Remember this, Zach. Last year, after the South Carolina win, South Carolina staff members were going up to Keelan Russell and shaking his hand, and you watch Kalen DeBoer grab him by the shoulder and go, yep, hey, locker room right now. That's the sign that you need to be like, dude, that's your quarterback of the future. I don't know what else you need to see.
The biggest enigma in college football last year for me was Ryan Williams. Just don't get it.
Oh, Ryan Coleman. Remember, we got to add that to the name now.
Oh, yeah. Well, I loved him in year 1. Last year, I was thoroughly disappointed. What are we getting out of him this year?
I think a bit of both. If you want my honest answer, I don't think that we will ever see the version that created basically adult tyranny on a pair of Georgia Bulldog defenders in week 4. Again, I don't think that guy exists.
He was
anymore.
like a ballerina on that 75-yard touchdown pass from Jalen Milroe to him right down the right sideline. It was something like I've never seen.
I mean, you had PETA getting involved because of the amount of attack against Bulldogs. Like that, like it was that bad of a problem out there. It was. But like the big question is the drops. I mean, he was so awful in critical situations in every game when it came to drops. And he was a big time role player. He still had a good season for what would be a wide receiver in the SEC, but far from what we expected from him. Now, you don't have a Jeremy Bernard. Now, I want to preface this by going, I thought Jeremy Bernard was a breakout player waiting to happen for 2 years. I loved his tape at Michigan State. I loved that he was going to be the next big guy at Washington. I thought he was completely underutilized in year 1 in Tuscaloosa, and he ended up being the go-to guy for Ty Simpson. So Jeremy Bernard played a major role in that, and so did Isaiah Horton. Well, Horton's now in College Station, and you have a really good, and Bernard's off to the NFL and playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's some really good young names that are up there. Ced Morgan is going to be, I think, an absolute human highlight reel by the time that we get to the end of this season. He is great speed, physical player, can play that X receiver position, go up and get it. 50-50 balls are more like 60-40. I think that Latsier Brooks, who really stepped up in that Oklahoma game in the playoff, has an opportunity to be a good secondary receiver. But Ryan Coleman Williams is going to get every opportunity to prove that he can be the guy. The big question that I have is, what do you do when you hear footsteps behind you? Because if you're dropping balls left and right, you got a Rico Scott, you got a Derek Meadows, you got a Ced Morgan, you got a Latsier Brooks, Noah Rogers, the kid from NC State, by midseason is expected back after suffering the injury in spring camp. There's a lot to love about the wide receiver room to where you don't need him to be the go-to guy. I don't know if we'll ever get that again from Ryan Williams. I think he'll be a solid player, but you look at wide receiver ones in the SEC right now, especially at places like LSU, Texas, Florida, Dallas Wilson, Eric Singleton, J.C. Brown, who I think is a complete sleeper from Kansas State, now in Charlie Weiss Jr.'s offense. I really am excited to see what Jonte Cook can do now with now down in Oxford. Cam Coleman's off the plains and he's on the 40 acres. I think Ryan Wingo. Like, I would take every single one of them just knowing what their potential is over Ryan Coleman Williams, simply because of the drops. Like, if he dropped half of the balls from last season, I don't think there would be a debate that he's the second or third best wide receiver in the SEC. He's still a top 7 wide receiver in the SEC. Quality player, really good when the good is good. It's just those drops are so critical, and they really hurt Alabama in the Florida State game. They nearly cost Alabama a win against South Carolina. It was brutal in the playoffs. And he had every opportunity to turn the ship, and he never was able to accomplish that. And he really kind of ended up being wide receiver 3 by the season's end.
2 players that I love this year. And And they're not quarterbacks, not wide receivers, not running backs, but new additions. Jordan Seaton going to LSU, obviously.
Ooh, yeah.
And then this may be one of my favorite moves of the offseason. Rasheem Biles to Texas. I loved him at Pitt. I didn't only like him, loved him at Pitt. I think that's going to be a move that really, really, really enhances Texas this year.
I love that fit. I do. I don't think that there's a better fit right now in college football than Rasheem Biles coming on into replacing Ed Hill. Like, if you just watch the tape from his time at Pitt, every play, number 3 was everywhere. Just he was everywhere.
Him and Kyle Lewis were phenomenal.
It was incredible watching them play in a Pat Narduzzi defense and how critical they were of keeping Pitt really in every game while Mason Heitschel was getting his act together. And now he's going into no longer Pete Kubatowski's defense, but Coach Boom, Will Muschamp's defense. And Muschamp's known for working on linebackers as much as he is secondary play. He is a dude that's going to be, I think, a potential 100 tackler. He's going to make plays in the football and coverage. He's got good mechanics, high IQ, really solid motor that can read and react out of the drop of a hat. He is a really, really, really interesting fit, I think, down in Texas. And I agree with you on Seaton. Seaton is the potential of an all-pro caliber left tackle and working now with a really good offensive line unit down in Baton Rouge and being taught in a Lane Kiffin offense is massive. I think that's a player that absolutely can hit the ground running. I think that the most underrated move right now, though, in the SEC, and this is one that I think you will appreciate to a certain degree. If Eli Drinkwitz is as advertised, Austin Simmons, I think people need to actually start talking about a little bit more. Because remember, this was the kid that Lane Kiffin said was as good as Jackson Dart. He won the starting job before Trinidad decided to come on in and remind everybody why he is the greatest quarterback to ever come through Oxford. I mean, like he literally was everything that you wanted. And remember that game against Georgia, Jackson Dart goes out for the one drive. And here is a young up-and-coming quarterback that has the same throwing motion as Tua, but is a little bit bigger than Tua and a little bit more mobile than Tua. And he leads the scoring drive. And I think he's like 5 of 6 on the plays. And he really builds a good rapport with I'm blanking on the wide receiver's name. He also Caden Lee, and just constantly force feeding it right across the middle of the field against a Georgia defense, a Kirby Smart defense. And there were people at Ole Miss saying, "Look, Jackson Dart's our guy. We love Dart. He's going to go down as one of the most prolific quarterbacks to ever play at Oxford. But if he's out for the game, we feel high and mighty about what a guy like Simmons can do for this team." So now he goes to Columbia, and who went with him to Columbia? Caden Lee. Caden Lee was waiting to figure out the transfer portal process and the NCAA investigation on Trinidad Chambliss. He had to go ahead and make a decision. He goes to Columbia. He's now playing as the wide receiver number 2 in place of Kevin Coleman. And I think that when you look at what Simmons can be as a quarterback, looking at the schedule this year, nobody will doubt Missouri if they finish 10-2 as a playoff team. Because like the big conversation that we've had for the last few years is, where is the signature win for Mizzou? Like they always get to 10-2, but they beat up on bottom dwellers and mid-level conference teams to get there, and they lose the 2 big games. Well, their schedule this year is not a cakewalk. It's actually probably the 2nd or 3rd hardest in the SEC, and you're looking at them and saying, if Austin Simmons is as advertised and he ends up delivering the way that Lane Kiffin thought he was, I mean, that's a team that definitely has a shot to be a dark horse for the playoff. I don't think it happens, but I just got to say that like this is a kid that I think a lot of people are forgetting about. At one point was viewed as untouchable at Ole Miss. He was the next big-time star. And luckily you had a kid from Ferris State just come on in, show on out, beat LSU, and made it clear, I'm not giving back the starting job. If he still is the same player that we envisioned, dude, I mean, he is going to be able to put up massive numbers this year in Columbia.
Rank these teams for me in the SEC this year: Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Texas A&M.
Ooh, that's a hard one. Right now, based off of my rankings, I got Oklahoma at 1. I think that John Mateer going into year 2 of a offense is going to be really interesting with Ben Arbuckle. I love the fact that they're going to have stability on the offensive line, which is something that they didn't have last season. Bill Beatonbow's got veteranship back there. And in my opinion, if I can't have Kirby Smart as my defense coordinator, if I get one other head coach in college football to run the show, it's Brent Venables. And I trust him entirely to be able to reshape this defense with losses of guys like an R. Mason Thomas and like a Robert Spears Jennings. They did a good job in the portal. David Stone is an elite defensive tackle who I think is going to come into his own this season. Kip Lewis is a damn good linebacker. Their schedule's brutal, and they got to be able to have somebody other than 10 run the football. But if they just get something with that, Zach, I mean, like, this is a team that I think is going to be competitive in every single game, and they're not going to miss much of a beat, and they should be considered a favorite to go to the playoff. I go Ole Miss number 2 because when you have the best quarterback and the best running back in the conference, even if you lose the head coach, I still believe that talent outweighs everything. And the talent of Kejuan Lacey and Trinidad Chambliss playing together in a similar offensive approach, because John David Baker is a disciple of Lane Kiffin, was on the staff when they went 11-1. They went to the Sugar Bowl. They were playing against Penn State. He got the OC job at East Carolina the following year. He's coming on back in. It's a similar concept. They have 3 starters returning on the offensive line. They once again killed it in the portal at wide receiver. They have some really young guys like Caleb Cunningham, who was a 5-star that didn't leave overnight like Winston Watkins to go to Baton Rouge. The defense worries me a little bit because of what pieces were lost, but they did bring in a ton of names that have proven experience in the SEC, proven experience playing just around college football, and are very highly coveted. So I think that that's going to carry a lot of weight for being able to set a tone. Their schedule's manageable too, and I think that if they're able just to be able to split series with Texas, LSU, Oklahoma, and Georgia, then you're going 10-2 and you're back in the playoff. And then Texas A&M to me, I think, has one of the highest floors in college football because of who their strength and conditioning coach is. Like, the hire of Tommy Moffitt, I think from a national perspective, does not get enough love. From a college football perspective, us that love the sport and breathe the sport, we know who Tommy Moffitt is. This is a dude that built 3 national title contenders on different occasions in different eras for LSU. And he goes on into College Station, and like almost instantaneously, the BS that we saw with Jimbo Fisher is thrown to the wayside, and they're winning games because of their physical force. But I just have so many questions about what is Marcel Reed going to look like in a new offensive approach headlined by Holman Wiggins. Like,
is some of the criticism of Reed just a little bit overblown? Like, this was a guy that had a chance to be a Heisman Trophy finalist going into that Texas game. He was never going to win the award.
Yeah.
And then because of the injuries down the stretch and his poor play, now everyone's like they're out of him. Is some of the criticism overblown with Reed?
Let me ask you, what's your thoughts on CJ Stroud?
You know what? I think they're very comparable.
That's the point.
I think they're good. I don't think they're great. You know what? That's an excellent point.
Because CJ Stroud right now is still, in my opinion, a top 7 quarterback in the AFC, top half quarterback in the NFL. But everyone's going to complain about him because of his 7 turnovers in the playoffs. And that's the lasting image you have of him. The lasting image you have of Marcel Reed is awful in the second half against Texas, a throw that if it's just a step closer to Casey Concepcion, you're tied against Miami and maybe you're going on to the second round. And because of that, you all say, oh, he's overrated, he's a bust. There's some things to his game that need to be finely tweaked. I mean, he had multiple bad turnovers in the Notre Dame game and against South Carolina. Like he's had some bad moments, but he still was a quarterback that got you to 11-0. And the part that really bugs the crap out of me, Zach, more than anything else, is when we see people bitch about the scheduling purposes. Like, oh, they played such a relaxed schedule. You have to hold up your end of the bargain. If you end up beating the brakes off of every team, it's not your fault that South Carolina was overhyped. It's not your fault that LSU decided to not actually give a care this season and fire their head coach after you beat them into oblivion in the second half. It's not your fault that Mississippi State or Florida didn't take another jump forward. You're given the schedule that's on the table, and you made the most of it. And Marcel Reed was a big reason why you believe that this offense was good enough to be an 11-win team and fight alongside Texas and compete for a spot in the college football playoff. So the hate is over justified. I think that there's some warranted thoughts there, but I do like their overall staff. I do. I think that their running back room, yes, no Le'Veon Moss, it's a loss, but still, I think that Ruben Owens is completely getting slept on nationally. Santa coming on in the defensive tackle, or the edge rusher from Northwestern. I mean, what more do you need to see with Nick Scorton and Cassius Howell becoming all SEC players to realize Mike Elko's got his act together? He's gonna end up transforming these kids into future NFL talents, especially on the defensive side. And then at wide receiver, you lose Casey Concepcion, but dude, you bring in a big time threat with Isaiah Horton. And Isaiah Horton, like, people got to realize this dude single-handedly won the Iron Bowl with his physicality. I mean, like, physicality, he just threw people off of him and said, all right, I'm going to be in the end zone. And so now you pair that physicality with Mario Craver, who is arguably the best wide receiver in the SEC outside of maybe Cam Coleman and maybe alongside Cam Coleman, that they're going to be a fine team. I don't know if they're going to be a 10-2, 11-1 roster with the way their schedule pans on out. That Arizona State game in week 2 is really, really interesting. Like, it's actually piqued my mind to be like, it's not a trap game, but it definitely is one to where I'm not doubting Kenny Dillingham going into College Station on a Saturday night. I'm not doing that. But I see 9-3, 10-2. I see all these teams' ceilings being 10-2. I see all these teams' floors being, 8-4. And that's probably because of a few bad breaks here and there.
All right, last thing I'll ask you, and we haven't talked about all these teams, but I think I have been able to patch together who I think you believe are the top 5 teams in the SEC going into this season. Let's tell me if I get Cole Thompson's order right. Not my order, your order.
Okay.
Georgia 1, Texas 2, LSU 3, Bama 4, Oklahoma 5. How we do?
You were 1 of 5.
1 of 5?
You're 1 of 5.
Holy shit. All right, give me your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1 is Texas. I think Texas right now is the most complete team in the SEC, at least on paper.
Okay.
I do worry about that offensive line, but their ceiling is 12-0. They absolutely can win the national championship. The fact that they took Hollywood Smothers away from Alabama, not because they wanted to, not because they needed to. They just said, screw it, we have the money, we can do so. We don't want to see him wearing crimson and white. So we're going to have him here. And he's going to play alongside Raleek Brown, another top 12 running back. Great. You mentioned it, and I completely agree that the most slept-on move of the transfer portal was Rasheem Biles. I think that he is going to be an immediate Buckus Award kind of type player. So they're number 1. Number 2 is Georgia. I think Georgia, for the first time, feels like that there's no issues going into this year. Like, their ceiling is maybe a little bit lower than Texas, but they got depth. I mean, like, I trust that they're going to be able to run the football efficiently.
Yeah.
I believe that they're going to have a better offensive line, which I think was an issue the last few years. I think that they're going to be really, 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 really stable when it comes to the interior defensive line. I think their secondary play is going to be great. Ellis Robinson ended up becoming a top 10 cornerback by the season's end. They're going to be fine in that standpoint. Number 3 for me right now is Oklahoma. I just
you're that high in Oklahoma?
I know. I just feel like right now, I believe that you're going to see a better version of this offense that we were expected to see last season. That's where I'm at. If I get a sufficient run game, I trust the defense. I trust the offensive line that's going to take a step forward. And I believe that Isaiah Satenga is flying under the radar. Trell Harris comes on in from Virginia, a really good plug-and-play addition. I think that the tight end play is going to be a lot better this year with Hayden Hansen and arguably a dude who needs a sponsor by Coors Light, Rocky Beers. Like, he's going to be finding plays up and right. You just got to see Ben Arbuckle have a run game. Like that. Like, that's it. And I'm not asking for the running game to be top 10. Like, I'm not saying throw Adrian Peterson back there and make plays. I'm saying give me a top 50 run game and we're going to the playoffs this year. Number 4 right now is Ole Miss, and it's Ole Miss because of just trust Lacey and Chambliss. Again, if you have the best quarterback and arguably the best running back in the conference, and you won without your head coach, like, yes, I understand it's Lane Kiffin squad. I'm arguing with LSU fans every single bleeping day about this stuff, dude. But, like, they still won without Lane on the sidelines. You have to give credit where credit's due on that one.
And then who's 5?
It's Alabama. It's slightly Alabama over LSU and over Texas A&M. It's right there, and I can interchange them. I really could. I think Alabama right now is such an unknown. Unknown is a good thing going into this year if you're the Crimson Tide, because it does kind of feel like that you're flying under the radar. And then the team that I'm looking forward to see the most play this year, you know this, I've told you this many a time. I will continue to die on this take. The greatest hire of the offseason was John Summerall to Florida. I have to eventually get off the hype train. If they don't do it this year, I'm going to sell all my Florida stock because it is death taxes and every offseason. Here goes Cole finding a way to talk Florida into being that surprise team that goes 10-2.
Excalibur in our YouTube chat said you should do a segment called Cole Hard Facts. You should do that in your next show.
I know. Like somebody else brought that up.
Cole Hard Facts.
Like they're looking for signature segments. It's like you got to do number one. Cole Thompson knows his stuff. Number two, Zach Gelb needs to have Cole Thompson on way more. Number three, 365 Sports is the number one YouTube channel right now on playing. There you go.
I don't know if that's a fact, but sure, we'll take it.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Cole Thompson, I can talk to you literally all day. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Am I going to see you next week in New York for Barrett?
I do not know.
I'll text you.
Yeah, we'll hang out. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to the summit. Will I go out and grab dinner with you? Absolutely.
Yeah, tell the Asman to go ahead and give you a phone call. There you
go. We'll talk to you. There he goes. Cole Thompson. And you know what? That's going to do it for the show today. We ran out of time. Cole just had Cole at the buzzer. Bang, bang, bang. We'll talk to you, everybody. This is Zach Gelb Show right here on 365 Sports. Garrett, we appreciate you. We'll be dropping content Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern, Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern. We'll be out the next two shows, but we'll be back live Tuesday at 12 to 2 p.m. Eastern time. This is Zach Gelb Show. We out. Bye-bye. Peace.